Hi there traders, welcome to this elite currency video on the euro dollar and pound dollar. My name is Chris, and of course the pound specifically very much impacted by all the Brexit news, so keep that in mind. That said, we are going to take a look at the charts and see what's going on. If you're interested in more analysis, webinars, and setups, check out our ECS Live trading. That's the link right here to get more in clue with what's going on with the market and our view on a intraday and constant basis. All right, so the euro dollar is moving higher as we were looking at already after this sharp bounce to the upside. We were saying that that daily candle is looking like a basically a rebound back up, and we were not surprised when the price broke above the 21 EMA that there could be some reversal potential here to the upside. That's what happened. Price is moving up pretty steeply, pretty aggressively, and that could be based on the entire formation that's still corrective. You know, you can interpret this in many ways, but at the moment I am leaning towards the fact, that this is kind of like a falling wedge and that it's correct or finishing a correction, and that we could see now some upside if it breaks above this resistance zone, if it breaks above the top of this rising wedge. So that's still question mark, but for the moment this is pretty aggressive price action here, and I think that it's not looking like a pullback, at least within the downtrend at this point. At least if we get a correction to the downside like this and then move back into the zone around 112.50, I think that could still be a bouncing spot for upside, even if it breaks below this channel. All right, so that could be just a correction. This could be maybe a wave one, this could be a wave two. We could see a head and shoulders pattern here, inverted one play out, and I would expect to bounce it around this area for a continuation to the upside. Now, whether this swing, however, is finished, that remains unclear, and price could push higher. As you can see, there's no substantial clue that price or sign that price is going to stop right here, right now. In fact, it's looking pretty bullish at this moment. We are having a continuous series of higher highs and higher lows for the moment, and most recently we still had a higher high. So unless we have 5 to 6 candles on the 4-hour chart that don't confirm a higher high, this is still bullish, impulsive price action, and that could last for a little bit further, right? Maybe going up to 114, 113.75, maybe even 114.25. Here, there is some resistance, as you can see up in here, where you have probably the weekly pivot points, you have some trend lines, you have the long-term, very long-term moving average, although I don't typically use that. So for targeting at least. So you can put a fib from here to here, all right, and you can see some fibs maybe around 113.50, 114. So those are levels to think about where price might head towards today. And as you can see, price already bounced off the pivot point here and the 21 EMA. Again, it has been riding along this 21 EMA for quite a while. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bounces already. And that's the beauty of using 21 EMAs and the moving averages, and that's something we explain in detail in our ecs.SWAT course. And we also use proprietary indicators like this to indicate trade setups that are interesting. As you can see here, many good moments where we had blue candles for entry. So if you're interested in that, once again, ecs.SWAT. For the moment though, price is bouncing, and I think there's a good chance of a continuation, but the target is so close by. I personally am not interested in that, such a small piece of price action. But if you're looking to trade intraday, you might look for a little bit of a pullback still without breaking this bottom necessarily, and then a re-break above the 21 EMA. And that could be a small little intraday trade right there. Risky, but because the target is so close, but possible if you get pullback, a continuation like that with the target at around, 113.50, 114-ish. And who knows, it could extend beyond that, but for the moment the daily chart you can definitely see is getting closer and closer to a resistance area. Last week's weekly candle was bearish, so we're getting closer to last week's high. We're getting closer to these trend lines, so eventually some kind of bounce and retracement, as I said, back to maybe 112.50 in here is becoming slowly but surely more likely. All right, pound dollar, as expected, in my wave analysis, if you are part of the ECS Live group, you could have seen that for yourself, that I was expecting this to be a retracement here for upside, although I said that it remains tricky because of Brexit news, of course. But eventually price broke with this candle above this triangle and the 21 EMA that did kickstart a very good momentum to the upside. Maybe 100 pips, my guess, maybe more, 230 pips. So large apart from this candle up to here, large movement. I personally am not trading the pound this week because of all the Brexit news. But for those that were, brave enough to trade it, you got a lot of movement there. Now, I think that, as I said in my wave analysis this morning, maybe you saw it on the Elite Currency website. In any case, I was looking for a 38.2 fib bounce. I think that this is a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like an ending diagonal, a little bit like a rising wedge pattern. So I think that therefore was a bouncing spot. Price shouldn't have moved below the 61.8 fib, which it didn't, in the long-term moving average. And I think that it could go up for one more higher high, tag maybe 134.40, maybe even 135, but then eventually should find resistance for a pretty significant potential bounce there if my analysis is correct. That should be pretty heavy resistance zone, pretty important psychological level, and the potential end of a wave 4 and the start of a wave 5. Now, I have no idea if price is ready for such a move. There's a lot of Brexit news probably ahead of us, and that could mean that the pound remains indecisive until maybe more clarity is received in terms of politics. So Brexit news is dominating, I think, the movement here. Let's be real. But technicals, of course, always still useful to understand what might happen. It's just the news is a very big factor in this case. And of course, it's ongoing. Typically, if we would not have Brexit, technicals, I think, would have more say, more impact. But the Brexit news is becoming, I think, more and more impactful as we get closer to that Brexit exit date in just a few weeks. So, but anyhow, from a technical point of view, looks to me like a 5-wave ending diagonal that could bounce at 134 or 135. All right. Now, trading this to the upside, the best trade was already at the 38 or the first break above the 21 EMA. But if it does hook back like this and make a second break, that could also still be a way of trading the pound dollar to the upside on this 50-minute chart. On a 1-hour chart, I don't see any way to trade it at this point. Maybe for a good 4-hour candle, a little bit of retracement halfway that candle could be still a way. I'm not, once again, trading the pound just because of all the Brexit news this particular week. Too much for me, too much news events. But ultimately, it does look from wave perspective, we were already saying this looks like an ABC. Looks like the wave C is being expanded, and looks like this is wave A, B. There are like 5 waves in here at this moment for wave C. So if that is true, then the bullish wave C should finish soon around 134, 135. And there's still some space up to that level. Best probably approached on 50-minute chart perhaps, although vulnerable for news or even looking at the 4-hour candle. I'm, for the moment, going to wait till next week though. More live analysis, trade ideas, setups, webinars, once again with ECS Live. So I hope to see you there. These are our stats of 2017 and 2018. 2019 is roughly similar, so no big differences there. And so I hope to see you in the channel. Otherwise, of course, looking forward to talking to you in the next video. Cheers.